Talk to you today about long-term lead conversion. Really quick.
Hey, this is Blake Sloan. I've been selling real estate over 14 years. Our team of highly trained professionals, along with our unmatched marketing, has sold thousands of homes here in the Myrtle Beach area, and this is how we do it.
Only about 10% of your leads, at least on the buy side, are going to be a short-term conversion. About 10% of your leads on the buy side are about a short-term conversion, meaning they call in, want to buy today. And typically, those aren't the biggest, most expensive houses. Why? Yeah, why?
Because the people that got more money take longer to make a decision.
Yes, because they make better decisions, which is why they have more money. They're more methodical. The longer the sales cycle, the more money a person has typically.
It's like a long dance.
Yep. And so it just is how it is, right? And so that's the key part. So I want to talk to you about long-term lead conversion. There has to be some strategy to this, and there's a few things I've noticed that we've missed and we keep missing over and over and over a little bit. I've taught some before last year, but I just want to kind of recap the top 4 pieces for you guys. Number 1, I think just a great reminder here is connection. I talked about this last year if you guys remember, but it's a little bit different here. The reason it's important because long-term lead conversion is a very long cycle. And there's many variables. The first piece of that, right, is connection. What do you think that means and what does that matter?
Those. You can touch with a person. Like if they say something about their kids, they might ask about it, you know?
Every single phone call, and you call your people, especially non-locals, or even locals you haven't met with yet, or even a lead comes in, you want to have the thing, and the tonality piece of this, I want you to have the feeling that they're your best friend. It always struggles and makes me wonder, like, how does some agents who have no script, no anything, other places, no guidance, can actually close deals, right? And so part of this, the one X factor that the best people have on the phones and the best realtors have is they have the ability to connect with somebody like their best friend, meaning that you talk to them, you meet with them, and when you're on the phone, it sounds like you're talking to your best friend. I did really well with this for years with people, the older people, right, who I feel like I was their grandson from Myrtle Beach. But I connect with them, and they didn't know who I was. When I was on the phone, my tonality sounded like what? We're best friends. Right? So, hey, Blake, hey, so-and-so Blake from Myrtle Beach, how you doing? And they don't really know who Blake from Myrtle Beach is, but the way I talk makes them feel like they should know who I am. Okay, you have to have that best friend energy. And so, a lot of people, what happens is they get into the grind of just dialing, and when someone answers, what happens? They're flat on their feet. And you don't have that energy of best friends, so they don't have a connection with you. And subconsciously, their mind is judging you, and they don't want to connect with you. And that's why they get off the phone and hang the phone up. It's very hard to hang up on your best friend. Right? And so have that energy and that piece of that, which is super important for you guys to focus on. That's also the second part, which I want you guys to manage. And I added this one separately because it matters in the ups and downs. You have to have the tonality. And when I say tonality, I mean the ups and downs. That's the dance part. The best friend is every call I make to them, especially my bucket long term, is I'm their best friend. And for me to do that, I have to find ways to feel that way. And that goes to what? Notes, details, a lot of things I want to have in that scenario, and I have to have the ability to want to help them. Third piece of that, must be energetic. What do you think that means? Energetic. Like it needs to be excited to move to Myrtle Beach, right? If you're talking to me and I'm in New Jersey or Ohio or New York and you're not excited about what you're doing, do I want to work with you? Would you want to work with you? No, and so it's important for you guys to, when you're making your calls, to have some recordings and you can guide yourself, understand. Right? Because your inner ear hears things differently than the outer ear and the way that they hear things. And so you want to make sure you're constantly keeping track of this, at least spot checking consistently, looking at your own things from this little matrix here. Do I sound like I'm their best friend on the phone? Right? Do I have the piece here, the tonality to match and to go up and down and to have them hooked in the conversation? And in this piece, do I have actual energy? Or do I sound flat? Because if you're calling people flat without energy, you might as well just hang it up because they're not going to want to work with you. Because why? They feel it. It's boring. Right? And that leads to no connection. And the fourth piece here, which I think is very important, this is long-term conversion. there has to be likability. There has to be likability. You have the same people make multiple calls, use the same script, and they'll get two drastically different results. It all comes down to likability. If people don't like you and they don't feel like you like them or they like you, they're not going to want to stick with you in any way. And I'll give you a hint on this, and I've talked about this before. People like them. I don't care who you are. Yep. I'm looking at, they tell me where they're from. Guess what I say every person? Like, oh, I told you a story before. Like, oh, we're Greensboro. Man, my really good friend lives in Greensboro. His name's Jason Bramlett. He actually does real estate. You ever heard Jason Bramlett before? They has. Guess what we have now? Instant rapport. Because they like people like them. Or if I've been to that place, right? Oh my gosh, I love where you're at. Raleigh's an amazing, beautiful city. I've actually been there all the time. Whatever it is, right? I have to find a way to have them find a way for likability. And it all goes back to my tonality, my energy. But that's the final piece here. Am I finding ways to connect with people? If I watch their email address and it has, whatever, something.com, I usually look it up, see what company they work for, so I can say something about that company I know that's important that they'll like, because why? I have instant connections to them because I like them in that company. And they have connections to me because I let them know I like that, and guess what? We're similar now. Right? And we do this all the time. Joanna talk about this, the email. If you see something, email, right? You can connect to, we use that and talk about that.
One thing, a bit of research.
What I did with that guy last night.
Yep.
His email.
So there's this extra step. But I think a lot of people, when I hear the conversations throughout the office, it's very surface level. And I'm talking about call 2, 3, 4, 5. Not the initial setup call, but when you're connecting to people, they want people that are like them. And they want people that they like. And I only want to work with people, somebody who I like. Right? And so if you come across it, whereas uninterested, right, and not that part of that, it makes a big, big difference in that piece. And I want to show you how that connects down here with this one in a second, because these two are going to be intertwined.
Not someone out of your pocket.
Yeah, most people, you can tell. If they feel like you're just calling, they don't really want to talk to you. Why? No one wants to talk to salespeople, right? I want somebody who's going to help me and serve me. The words I use matter too. I'm serving you. I want to help. It's a very, very important thing there. Second piece here, which is a tactical part. Medium. All the time, they were always one-dimensional or two-dimensional or follow-up. I saw it yesterday. I saw outside sales agents and inside sales agents.
What does that say? I'm sorry.
Medium. Medium's the thing I use. So, for example, the first medium is what? Phone call. This is where a lot of people think linear. What drives me freaking crazy, I watch somebody call somebody in their bucket 7 times in 7 weeks and never leave a voicemail, never send a text, never send an email. That's an example of not being able to understand medium. Medium means I'm just doing one-dimensional thing to that person. It is not going to help me for long-term conversion. Phone call is the most important. Why? Because I can connect with them in this way. But the problem is, guess what? You get so many robocalls, what do most people not do? Answer the phone after a while, right? So the second piece, right? This first one's voice, obviously. Second piece here is text message. This is important, especially people in your bucket. We had the same thing happen though yesterday. We had a lead come in, sell a lead come in. They were just called up, and there's no answer, right? It came through Sierra. It was somebody through a viral email we sent out, and they were called, no text message. We don't do it on the buy side because you have 10 people be texting them at the same time. But the seller side, right? That comes in, we'll call and text messages through the system, whatever it is. May have done it on the phone, but I want to have it through there instantly so we can know, am I hitting all these mediums here? You guys with me on this? But what I never see in the buckets when I check the deal, Alex, you see a lot of text messages going out to people in their bucket for follow-up when you check the deals? But I don't even see any text or anything about anything. I know some do it, but here's the problem. If I'm going back to my phone and having to type up a text message, does that take more time than me just typing a drop down from the back end of the system and typing it on a computer? Way faster, right? The reason I use Hangout so much, kind of like email on my phone. I hate text messages. It takes too long. But if I have the computer, it takes way more efficient, and it's all tracked and synced, so I can do what? Understand my last conversation and use that for my connection with them in my next conversation. Yeah, and just if you wonder why I got 2 numbers, I actually have 2 numbers that better serve you. If you can't give me on 1 number, you call the other one, I'll get you. Super simple. I have better 2 numbers. I got 5 numbers that better serve you. How many other agents you know has got 2 numbers?
Yeah, that's my office number.
Right? So super important to do, but that's a key thing to do there when you have that from that scenario. You can use the app and text back too as well. But here's the thing. The most read medium, what do you think it is? Text message. It's like 90+% get read. So it's important to do my follow-up campaigns afterwards, right? Third piece here. Voicemail. I put this in this place because you know what? I saw 5 different people yesterday in there. They're in their bucket for months and months and months. There's a call logged every single week or every other week for 6 or 8 months. And guess what they didn't do? Leave a voicemail. How do I know that? It says call left, no voicemail. Like, dude, you might as well just stay at home in the bed if you're calling people not leaving voicemails. Because why? I need to anchor in who's actually calling. And here's, well, after a while, they'll answer me back on this piece. Right? I should have really done phone call, voicemail, text, but I just wanted to go in order of importance. If you look at it operationally, you'll go phone call, voicemail, text. You guys with me on this? Which is super important. Email is kind of a part of that too.
So there's a lot of people who sometimes a week, 2 weeks later, you leave them a voicemail, they'll say, hey, I got your voicemail there, then they'll email you back and say, hey, thanks for your call the other day, and they won't call you back, but they'll email.
And here's the part. My voicemail is not necessarily so they call me back. What's the voicemail for? I'm putting an impression in their mind. I'm earning their business. I want to be the one that left 45 voicemails by the time they buy something. You know why? Because nobody else is agent-wise usually. I've had people like, man, you call me every week for however many weeks. It's crazy. I'm going to go with you because you're the most persistent one. I've had that 20 plus times. Right? Very important. The one that we're really missing right now, though, here, video. Very big, very important. No one's sending video anymore. Why is video important? They see you, they judge you, they feel you, they look in your background. They can tell you're in an office. They can tell you got something going on. They see an LED light up in the ceiling. They know like this person is real, they're legit. It's not some person in Nigeria calling me trying to get my information. Right? They're judging you, or just some small town agent, some small town person. They judge the shit out of you. If I can do video, it's a way to differentiate at a much bigger level.
No one else is doing it.
At all. You got one from the lender yesterday, one of your deals, I forwarded it to you. Right? You see it?
Which one?
Some lender, he had a dump that he gave you an update. What did it build? It built what? Trust. Taking the time to send me a video. He's probably pretty good. He had a back, right? Like you visualize these things because this is important to have. We used to be very good at using the bomb, right? I don't see any bomb videos going through there or any videos that are coming through there at all. It's a system that we had to send video through our back-end system. We'll talk about that today, Thursday.
I had a broker a few months back, he sent me a bomb like 30 seconds, and it was just like, hey, got your offer, waiting to hear back from the sellers, and I'm like, that's, pretty cool, and no other agent broker has ever done that since I've been here, and that was 3 months ago, but it's crazy, stuff like that stands out, we don't forget that.
Yep, I know that was.
Yeah.
But it's important to do that in that sense, right? So I got to make sure the video, and one more here, is email. Why? Why do these mediums matter? Amanda said a minute ago that impressions are important, but more importantly, I want to make sure I'm finding the one that people react to. Some like to talk, some like to text. They'll call about everything. She's calling me, something must be an emergency, and she'd be asking what I want at the grocery store. But the reality is some people like to text. Some like to do anything else. But I'm telling you, you got to find a way. This is all about what? Differentiating. What happens is we get lazy, steal $1, make some phone calls, and think that we're actually following people. The problem is that doesn't work anymore. You know why? There's about 1 million computers across the country right now who are doing this, just calling on $1. You've got to find a way to differentiate and connect with your people. Right? This matters. And so I want to not be at a one-dimensional medium here. Like I was telling you guys before, your 2022 business card is your Facebook. Because it's where your clients go look you up. Right? And so that's important from that standpoint. Other thing that's important too, and I think that's something from connection medium, it is very important, is you want to make sure you have your contact card set up. If you got an iPhone, it needs to be set up on point. What do you think that means? Picture, all your information, your social, all that stuff is on there, and you guys just send it in there, right? If you have I enjoy just send a V card, whatever it is, right? But here, right, your card, and you just send the card to the person, right? They can one-click add to their phone. They have all your information, like you mentioned, both numbers, your Boomtail number, your regular number, and then obviously all your social media that you want them to see, including your photo that looks good. Not like Rich. Rich has got a cartoon that says Rich Homie Quan. I got a text message. I said, who is Rich Homie Quan? He's not out there. Yeah, I'm just kidding. So, that was a joke. So, yeah. Not Fetty Smith. All right, so, you guys hear me on this? So, important. Also, if I have video, what can I do, Jeremy? What's another way to do video?
You get to do a video text message.
Yes, video text message. Why would I do a video text message?
No one else is doing
No one else is doing them. And they're going to watch the video text message, and guess what you're doing there? Differentiating. It's all the calculation of how the judgment against you works. If the other agents, what do lazy people do? They stop here. If they're kind of good, they'll do this. But if I do all these, who's going to win that game of that marathon? Me. Is it extra work?
Yes.
Yep. But that works very well. Now, what do you think the third piece of that is? Where does it drop off? I watch this happen all the time. I watch people happen. This works on the seller side. Our number one curse on the seller side, we'll call people for 2 weeks, and then what happens? Never call them again. And then they show up again, 6 months later. Or they buy with somebody else, right? Because we're missing all the long-term nurture. Same thing with you guys on the buy side. You call them good for 2 or 3 weeks or a month, and all of a sudden what happens? Nothing, right? They're gone. That's why Rich brought me someone the other day. He's like, yeah, so-and-so's got a lead. This person called in. I looked in their bucket. They haven't called him since November. Remember that, right? Called that person since November. So the consistency piece matters, but why does this matter the most? This is a big aha for me a while back. Consistency makes the trust. Who was it? Joe had somebody yesterday. Not Joe. Who was it came office? Ryan. Ryan came office yesterday. He met with the people who signed something buying a Grand Dunes property in Del Webb, right? The agent that they had worked with, they said, quote, I felt like the agent put me on the back burner. I feel like the agent put me on the back burner. Now, I've heard that many times from many clients before, just in feedback of what their previous experience was. That has a lot to do with your consistency in your follow-up, right? You're not organized enough, you're not consistent enough. They feel like you just dropped them off on the back burner, even though you're just not even intelligent enough on the lead side with your intel to follow up with them consistently.
It was more of her tone,
But I'm just saying.
how they felt like, so it goes back to your connection.
That's why these are opposites, like I was saying, right? That's super important this to be in that scenario. So the first part, right? I need to make sure that I'm consistent in my calls. I'm telling you, because if you're not consistent in your calls, they don't have trust in you. I mentioned before, when I buy something, I plan out for weeks or months a lot of times. And then what happens is, I'm a slow purchaser sometimes that, but I want them to earn me in a way calling. Like if you don't call me but 2 times, I ain't going to call you back. If you call me 10 times, I'll probably answer on the 11th, or at least say, hey dude, you're doing pretty good. Right? It's just the way the society operates now in that scenario. Very important, that piece. Right? You must be very consistent in your calls. Right? You don't want people to feel that way. Second piece is in your communication. What do you think that means? I was grouping this together. Right? These are connected here because they need to feel the consistency. And also, it's how humans operate. It's another impression. Right? It takes lots and lots of impressions for somebody to remember you. Lots of them. We have people who call the office all the time, and guess what? They're a signed client of yours, and they don't even know your name. Does it happen all the time? You have people call all the time? Yep. Who's your agent? Well, I don't know. Right? Or they think I'm the agent, and I'm not the agent. Right? So it matters a lot. It's important to do this in that scenario. Third piece here, consistency in your response. What's that?
Getting back to them. When
Yes. You need to get back to them when you say you would. You need to get back to them quickly. You need to get back to them the same way every single time. So my text message, if I'm texting them or whatever it is, or calling them, needs to be elaborate. I'm not writing 2-word things back. I want to be consistent in my communication, meaning that I sound intelligent, right? That I'm able to follow up. Most of it is just follow them back quickly. Don't wait 6 hours to call somebody back and get back to them. Don't wait, a day to call somebody back. If you wait a full day to call them back, they're probably gone somewhere else. Or you've lost trust in them. Yep. And need to sound good and intelligent, right? Which is important for the reason I say that. A lot of millennials, or whatever X is. What do you call the youngest one? Z's, whatever they are. Y'all just want to write yo, okay, and a thumb up, a thumb that's up, right?
Just like the text message.
Yeah. So that means I'm never doing business with you, right? I don't do business that way. So you have an advantage here to separate yourself and actually communicate on a high level. Why? Because all this comes down to my ability to have trust. You guys with me on this? And I want you guys to understand this is a separate one I've done here in your consistency, but this is important for me to have. I want you guys to have a deep paranoia with your bucket in your consistency. What I mean by that, and I had this discussion yesterday with Rich. I send Rich the daily update of Zillow, the people that are searching, and Zillow and what's going on in the houses you're looking at. And what Rich tell me, he's like, man, every one of these except one's in somebody's bucket already. They're searching on an exterior site that's not you without you.
They don't know who you are. They don't care who you are.
Yes, even though in your bucket you think you're doing something, your every other week call, a half-assed call, and maybe a voicemail is doing something. It just goes to show that they're not listening, they're not trusting you, and they're talking to 10 other agents. And anytime they submit on there that somebody else is talking to them, they're going to get that deal from you. And so you need to be super, super paranoid in your bucket all the time. Who am I missing? Who have I not called? And who am I not getting back to fast enough? And who's going to about to buy? So, and just that was designed that way on purpose, right? Because if somebody has the commitment to take a lead out of the bucket, which was paid for, right, and you're not calling them, then obviously that's not living up to the agreement in that piece. And so every week, 2 weeks minimum. Why is that? Because that's what's minimum requirement. But this is why it matters, because we don't have consistency in their follow-up. And what happens is we're losing trust with our database in our bucket there. Does that make sense? And so it happens a lot, which is why I have this on here. I watch every deal. I look at the notes all the way to the bottom and the consistency or lack of thereof, what it is. But I've never seen like all these ever in anybody, like at all. I mean, I'll see decent notes or decent notes from a call or something, but like boom, notes on the phone call, right? Text message follow-up. Whatever, email right after that. There's not a whole lot of that. They're just relying too much on automation and not having a full understanding of the psychology of people who are buying from you long term. You guys with me on this? And we're really bad on the seller side, right? Just because we have so many in that piece. And the last piece, which I think is super important, what a lot of people miss out on, which I think that we make sure you stick with, what do you think it is? Close. Got to constantly be closing. I want to have the connection piece. I want to be friends with them. I want to be their best friend. I want to have all these things that are important for the non-locals and people here. But the last thing I got to do, and I cannot get weak on this, is that I constantly be closing. I'm looking to close for commitment. What do you think that means? When are you coming down? Can you come down? When are you coming down? Can you come down? So you guys got plans to come down soon? Okay, no problem. We found the perfect house for you. Great deal. Could you guys be down here this weekend? Well, I don't know. Okay, how far do you live from Spirit Airlines or Southwest Airlines? Right? I'm analyzing the problem. I want to ask the question to get their mind to open up. A lot of times they think they have to wait until their vacation, because any house you look at now is not going to be here when you're on vacation. Right? And so it's important for us to do that. And I like how Ryan asked, hey, do you want me to look at this one for you? And if it doesn't work out, we'll get on a quick conference call and find out what's important for you guys to make sure you can get that information.
Most of the time, no, it don't work out.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
But
Even if you show up in person, it doesn't work
that
out.
allows me to get belly to belly with them in another state.
Yep. Super important, right? Second piece I got ahead of myself there was push. That's the can you come down. Right? If you find a great home, that's the right offer, and I can give it to you virtually, that's something you guys might be interested in. Or if you find the right deal, can you guys be here this weekend? You'd be surprised that if you actually ask and open up the possibility, they're going to probably say, well, you know what, we probably could come down. At least they're serious about buying here. If I found the right deal. And for a lot of people, it's going to be an excuse for them to get away from their life and come down here. But it takes you doing what? Asking and pushing them. Important, right? Very important in that scenario. Yeah, very high likely, right? Because they're committed. They got their skin in the game, right? It's important for us to do that in that scenario. Third piece, preframe. I'm always preframing every conversation, which means I'm tactical and I'm thinking ahead. What does that mean? Like, what would I preframe on? Every conversation, which means I'm tactical and I'm thinking ahead. What does that mean? Like, what would I preframe on?
Set expectations for everything.
Yep, update on the market, what's going on, speed of market, inventory, data, right? Things that are helping them close me as the expert in the area. And also what to expect when they do come down. We got a lot of people right now buying sight unseen. It's a new thing everybody's doing. We got the technology that can have you tour the whole house and get you to see what you need to see to make a decision to come down and actually close on it. Or make an offer and then come down if it's the one that works out for you. Right? It's important to do that in that scenario. You guys with me on this? And the fourth one here, which is important, is I need to, every single phone call, I need to work on gaining commitment. What does that mean? Gaining commitment. I'm your guy, your girl here. Right, no problem, man. Just make sure I'm seeing how things are going, checking in. You guys come down. Cool. Hey, just want you to know, I'm your guy here. If you need anything and everything real estate, I got you, right? You got me saved in your phone yet? Right? Ask for, don't be scared. Hey, you got my number saved in your phone yet? No, well, go ahead and save it right now for me so I can make sure that you got the right connection right to me anytime you need it. Right? Hey, I'm going to tell you, don't worry about these other people calling you. Do you have other agents calling you? Don't even worry about them. You know why? Because they're not near as good as I am, and I'm work way harder than anybody else will. Stuff like that matters. Why? Because it anchors in their brain that you're the one, the girl, the guy they need to be with. Right? Always in the conversation with that. Hey, just a reminder, Jim, I'm your guy on Myrtle Beach, right? That's all you need. If you need anybody else, right, then something's not going right here, but I'm going to assure you, I got everything you need. I got the data, the knowledge, expertise, and the insight to get you what you want. Do you agree? Don't be just a friend, right? You've got to close, but if you don't make that commitment, that's why we have that thing in there. Hey, look, I'm going to do a whole lot of work for you. You know, that we have in there close for the non-local script, right? Do you have your agreement, your word, that if you find something you like, that you'll call me first, right? It's super important. Like, they'll book 2 separate appointments in the office, 2 different people.
Often.
Yeah. So they don't trust you. And so your job is to navigate this over a long period of time here so you can understand what their psychology is and I can win this game. But if I do this right, through this whole part, and then right here you miss out, and what do? File somebody else. Everybody. Why? Because most agents don't understand psychology. They don't have the work ethic. They don't have the discipline to actually do this stuff long term.